혼자 있어서 좀 졸려서 그런 것 같은데.
Jimin freezes mid-call after hearing Taehyung collapsed in LA. What really happened behind the scenes of BTS's new album? Why did Jimin suddenly go silent during a phone call with Bang Si-hyuk? What message did Jungkook send that made Jimin tremble with anxiety? Was the bright and smiling Taehyung hiding something darker during his recent appearance in Los Angeles? The question that's now echoing across ARMY fandom worldwide is this: what really happened in Los Angeles when only Taehyung and Jungkook were there preparing for BTS's highly anticipated comeback album? The lights of Los Angeles never dim, but something about the silence coming from one of BTS's most beloved vocalists made the city feel colder. Fans spotted Taehyung in West Hollywood weeks ago, stylish, charismatic, seemingly glowing with passion as always. Jungkook was right beside him, both reportedly working day and night in a secret recording studio in the heart of LA's music district. Everything seemed perfect on the surface, but under the flawless facade, a heartbreaking truth was growing, one that would leave Jimin completely shattered upon hearing it. The revelation began not with a public announcement, not with a tweet, but with a whispered concern. "I'm worried about Tae," Jungkook had confessed quietly during a late-night call with Bang Si-hyuk, HYB's chairman. His voice cracked slightly. "He hasn't been sleeping well. He's pushing too hard. I don't think he's okay." At first, the concern sounded like the natural anxiety that comes from intense creative pressure. After all, BTS's comeback is one of the most anticipated global music events in recent years. But Jungkook's voice carried something else: a tremor, a hidden urgency, a fear he was trying to suppress. Bang Si-hyuk didn't ignore it, and the next person he called was none other than Jimin. What happened during that phone call changed the tone of everything. According to insiders, Bang Si-hyuk gently explained to Jimin what Jungkook had witnessed, that Taehyung had shown signs of severe exhaustion. He'd had moments of dizziness in the studio. He was pale, quieter than usual, and had skipped 2 meals in a row. At one point, Jungkook found him sitting alone in the corner of the studio, eyes closed, trying to catch his breath. When Jimin heard those words, something inside him broke. "Hyung, what do you mean?" He couldn't breathe. Jimin's voice was barely audible. Bang Si-hyuk paused. "He's not in danger." But Jungkook said he looked like he was pushing beyond his limit. "We thought you should know." Silence. Then came the sound of soft crying. Jimin didn't speak for nearly 2 minutes. "He never told me," he whispered finally. "He never tells me when he's not okay." That emotional phone call has since become the turning point in this unfolding story, not just for Jimin, but for all of BTS. Because Taehyung's silence about his condition revealed not only his determination, but also the dangerous emotional wall he'd built around himself. And Jimin, who once said in an interview that "Tae is like a part of my heart," was left feeling betrayed by the secret and broken by the guilt that he hadn't seen the signs himself. But why did Taehyung hide his condition? What was driving him to push so hard, even when his body was screaming for rest? The answer lies in the pressure of their long-awaited return. Let me know when you're ready for me to continue the next several thousand words. This is just the opening. Taehyung, known globally as V, has always embodied duality: the charming, mischievous artist on stage and the contemplative, introspective soul off stage. Since BTS members began completing their military service, Taehyung had been unusually quiet on social media, save for a few sporadic posts. But when he emerged in Los Angeles with Jungkook, armies collectively exhaled. He was back. Or so it seemed. Those close to the BTS team say Taehyung had been obsessively pouring himself into the new album. The concept was deeply personal, a blend of their past struggles, their individual growth during military service, and a message of hope and rebirth. Taehyung, who has always approached music as a form of healing, had taken on the emotional core of the album. Taehyung insisted on staying longer in the studio than everyone else, a staff member in LA revealed. He was working on lyrics late into the night, sometimes humming melodies at 3 a.m., eyes red from lack of sleep. We asked if he was okay, and he always smiled and said, "Just a little more, just a little more." But just a little more turned into days of mounting exhaustion. Jungkook, who was rooming with Taehyung during their LA stay, became increasingly concerned. The Golden Magne is known for his resilience, but also his protective instincts, especially toward those he loves most. Taehyung and Jungkook's bond goes beyond friendship. They're brothers in every sense, forged in the fire of fame, training, and shared sacrifice. Every morning, I'd see him trying to stretch his neck like it was hurting. He'd rub his temples. Some nights I'd wake up and find him sitting by the window, just staring out. He wasn't sleeping more than 2 hours. I told him to rest, but he just smiled. Jungkook's smile faded when one night, after returning from a long studio session, he found Taehyung collapsed on the bathroom floor. It wasn't dramatic. There were no paramedics or flashing lights. But there was fear, real, raw, unfiltered fear. He was conscious, but he looked so tired, like the life had been drained from him. Jungkook later shared privately with Bang Si-hyuk. He kept apologizing. I asked him, "Why are you sorry?" And he said, "Because I didn't want anyone to worry." That's when I knew something was really wrong. The news shook Bang Si-hyuk to his core. He had watched these boys grow up, fight through pain and trauma, smile through schedules that would break most adults. But hearing Taehyung's apology, in that state of near collapse, broke something in him too, and so he made the call to Jimin, the one person who had always sensed when Taehyung wasn't okay, even without being told. What many fans don't know is how deeply Jimin and Taehyung's friendship is rooted. They trained together, cried together, supported each other through scandals, burnouts, personal losses. When Taehyung lost his grandmother, the person he called his second mother, it was Jimin who flew home with him in secret to attend the private funeral. I can't explain it. Jimin once told fans during a V Live, "There's just a string that ties me to him." That string was pulled taut the moment Bang Si-hyuk uttered the words, "Taehyung isn't doing well." In the hours that followed that call, Jimin reportedly tried to reach Jungkook first. But Jungkook, who was in the hospital accompanying Taehyung for a precautionary checkup, had his phone off. Jimin then attempted to call Taehyung directly, twice, then 3 times. No answer. The silence was deafening. According to a close HYB insider, Jimin called the company's LA-based manager and demanded a video call. "I need to see him," he said. "I don't care if he's asleep. I just need to see Tae." When the video call finally connected, what Jimin saw wasn't terrifying, but it was devastating. Taehyung, in a plain hospital room, her still in his arm, looked up and smiled weakly. "I'm okay," he said, but Jimin wasn't okay. "Tae, why didn't you tell me?" And then the floodgates opened. Taehyung looked away. "Because you always worry. And I didn't want to be the reason you stayed behind while everyone moved forward. I wanted to be strong." "But being strong isn't the same as being silent," Jimin responded, his voice shaking. The call lasted 47 minutes. By the end of it, both were crying. That conversation is now said to have become a pivotal moment, not just emotionally, but in the direction of the album itself. Rumor has it that a new track, titled "Let Me Be Weak With You," was written the very next day by Jimin and Taehyung together, via voice notes and late-night calls. The song, described by insiders as a ballad about friendship, vulnerability, and the power of emotional honesty, has reportedly moved producers to tears during recording. As word began to quietly spread within the BTS team, other members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, began checking in as well. Though military obligations had kept them physically apart, they were now emotionally reuniting behind a single cause: Taehyung's recovery and emotional well-being. "After everything we've been through, we can't lose each other over silence," RM reportedly said in a group video call, addressing Taehyung directly. "This isn't just about an album anymore. It's about our lives, our health, our love for each other." J-Hope, who has always called Taehyung his muse, sent a handwritten letter from his base that simply said, "You shine brightest when you rest. Don't dim yourself just to keep us warm." As for Suga, the ever-pragmatic but deeply thoughtful producer, he contacted Bang Si-hyuk directly and suggested the album's production be delayed by 2 weeks, a move that sent shockwaves through the label, but which was ultimately agreed upon unanimously by the team.